everybody. All right, so I have a different stream this morning, so we'll see how that all goes. But I wanted to tell you that I'm really excited about today's project. I know you're shocked. I'm never excited about a project. But for today, we are going to go ahead and use the Party Puffins stamp set again, so one of our favorites. And this project is one that you will enjoy using kind of all year long, whether you're doing this with Christmas paper or you're doing this with any time paper, like the one I'm going to show you, which is Dandy Designs from the upcoming Celebration mini catalog. Do I have one here yet? Oh, I do. Look, here it is. So I'm just getting ready to mail these out to customers today. So if you are one of my LovenStamps VIP customers, you can expect those in the mail in the next couple of days. Morning, Trish. All right, kind of see how this all goes here. Anyway, paper is beautiful. This is a really easy project. It comes together really cleanly for all occasions. So if you have something where you're trying to make thank you gifts or little treats, table favors, wedding favors, this is a very duplicatable project that you will want to use over and over again. So with that in mind, let us go ahead and switch our cameras here. And here we go. So I have Party Puffins and the Inspired Thoughts stamp set. And let's see, I'm going to switch over here to see what is going on. Okay. Yeah. Make sure you're saying hi so I can kind of see how that's going to show up if you're watching. All right, so Party Puffins and this fun origami fold. So we have a couple different things here from sort of the curated supplies that I have for this month. You can learn more about that at LovenStamps.com on the December videos. But let's go ahead and start with the element here, the folding part. I'm going to bring in my grid paper because I have conveniently marked these sizes on here, so I think you'll be able to very clearly kind of see what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and line up my square. This one is cut to 6 inches by 6 inches, which is a great size for this. You can make them smaller, you can make them larger. Oh, an echo? Okay, sorry, Sue. Thank you for the heads up. Let me see if that is better. Oh my gosh. Okay, is that much better? Hopefully that's better on the echo. Yeah, anything else? Give me a heads up on this. All right, so we have our paper set up here, and what I'm gonna do is go ahead and start by folding it so that I'm folding in the sides. And I've got this marked to 1.5 inches on each side because that is where I'm gonna fold it to. So this line, and I've got my top and my bottom point of my grid paper lined up here so that I know my square is square. So I'm going to fold this across and line it up here at the 1.5 inch line, okay? And then I'm going to fold this across here to the 1.5 inch line. Sorry about the sound, guys. Ugh. Thanks for putting up with that for a couple seconds. All right. I'm going to fold this in. So we've got this here at 1.5 inches to both sides. Now I'm just going to take this, I'm going to fold it in the center. I'm going to fold the top to match the top corners. Okay. And you could use a bone folder. I do like to use this sometimes, but I'm not going to for this. Sometimes with designer series paper, you want to be a little careful. You don't want to give it too much of a crease because you can end up damaging the paper fibers and have it tearing. So all right, now that I've got that set, I'm going to use this 3/4 inch mark here, and I'm going to fold down to 3/4 inch and kind of keep this straight. Plus or minus, it doesn't really matter. I just realized that I did this backwards. I'm going to flip it over and fold it in half this way. Okay, so we've got our insides out. It's a really easy fix if you're like, wait, this isn't working like what Meg showed. Just obviously flip it over. So here I'm going to flip to 3/4 here. And with a paper like this, that's like printed on a diagonal, you can see pretty well if you're straight. And then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna flip this one up to match it. So that's gonna be, I'm not measuring with the 3/4 anymore, but it'll match because that's what I measured the first time. And that is our really simple fold, okay? See how that works? And then we have these little pouches here that we can put things in, notes or treats or all kinds of things. They fit tea bags really nicely. You can use them for Ghirardelli chocolates, which is honestly like the best size for this kind of treat. So stock up on Ghirardelli chocolates. If you're making these for Christmas or for Valentine's, you can get the red and white wrapped Ghirardelli chocolates that fit beautifully in here and are kind of themed for your project. Now, sometimes when you do this, you'll kind of see here my pouch isn't exactly folded straight. So what I usually like to do is figure out which way it wants to lean and then make the way it wants to lean my front. So I'm gonna make this part here my front. I'm gonna take our chocolate back out. And you can leave the tops like this. You can punch them in a circle. We're gonna do a faux finish here on our piece. And I'm gonna take my paper snips and I'm just gonna trim off the top. Okay, so now we have kind of a different shape. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna finish the front of this. But let me show you how I do the closure in the middle. Just have these little Velcro dots. They come like 2 sheets like this in a strip. These aren't available through my Stampin' Up store. All the other stuff I'm showing you is. So you get these, you know, at a big box store or any place. And I'm just gonna, I'd like to start with them stuck together because this is gonna make it easier for me to align the pieces, okay? And so here I'm going to, oh, this is interesting. Okay, so here I am going to go ahead and keep these 2 pieces together, and I'm gonna pull the back off of one of them, and I'm going to go ahead and set it here on the part of our little treat that I want to be the closure, and then open this. Now, by keeping these 2 pieces of Velcro together matched, I know that all I have to do is close my pouch and those will magically be placed in the right place. So don't try and place one here and then one here. Just keep them together and then close your pouch like that and you are in good shape, all right? Okay, let's see. I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit here. We're gonna get rid of our grid paper and we're gonna come back to our stamping. So here we have our Party Puffins, and the stamps in here that I'm going to use are this sweet little fish and our puffin friend. And we're going to go ahead and stamp him on or her, on a piece of basic white cardstock. So I've got my Memento ink, and let's see, we'll zoom out a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and do this here. Now, somebody asked me about Tuxedo Black on their last and said, oh, I feel like I ink it all the time. One of the things, I don't feel like I ink this all the time, but probably the biggest tip that I have to offer for this pad is to make sure that you do a twist, twist, tap, tap when you are working with it, because you want to get a really good amount of ink on there. Now, if you just do twist, twist, you're gonna end up with like a messy swirl on your shape often. So twist, twist, tap, tap. The tap will take that swirl texture out. I have another in here and I'll just stamp it one more time. And so you get a really nice image, okay? All right, so there is our puffin friend. We're done with our black. And now we're going to bring in our Stampin' Blend markers. And for these, I have Daffodil Delight and Calypso Coral. And I'm gonna go ahead and do our, I'm just gonna use the dark this time. I think on the different puffin projects, I've used a variety of different pieces. So I'm gonna go ahead and use our darks for both. The Stampin' Blends markers ship as a pair. They're sold as a pair, so you have light and dark. This project isn't so much on shading. Our pieces are so small to color, and it's kind of cartoony, so I like it just colored. But these are just the most beautiful markers to color with. And then I have my lighter of Calypso Coral, and I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to give our puffin a place to stand, okay? So he's not just kind of floating in the middle of the air. So I've kind of got a horizon line and then the spread underneath him. So that's there. And then I'm going to bring in my postage stamp punch, which is one of my very favorite sort of universal all-purpose punches. Works for greetings, works for fun stuff like our puffin friend. And I'm going to go ahead and punch our puffin out. So this is going to fit here on the front of our paper eventually. And now we need a greeting to go on here. So I've got a strip here of basic white cardstock. And since this is a little thank you treat, I'm going to use the one that says, to someone who makes others so happy. Remember to save all of your extra pieces here in a little clear envelope. Those are the Stampin' Up! Clear envelopes, and they're so handy. And I'm going to go ahead and take this. And we're going to bring in our Bermuda Bay ink pad, open this up, and go ahead and stamp here. Okay, so to make this sort of fancy, I'm going to go ahead and cut ourselves a little banner tail here at the end, and then we're going to attach this here in the front. Now, you know that I am super in love with Stampin' Dimensionals because they add some fun extra dimension to our project, so we're going to go ahead and use that here. And so that will give us some extra like oomph here. Be careful not to put the dimensionals at the end because you want to make sure that you get them on your project. You don't want them to fall off the edge. And I'm going to use this as spacing. Okay, by that I mean you don't want your dimensional to show up on the back there. And then I'm going to use our dimensionals here to attach our puffin friends. Okay, so you can see, you know, if you're doing these assembly line for like a big group, like a teacher appreciation or something like that, then you would be able to make a whole bunch of these. You'd like stamp all your puffins, you would color all your puffins, you would punch all your puffins, and then you would add all the pieces, and then we're going to add here. So I've got my take your pick tool. These are the iridescent rhinestone based jewels, and we're just going to put 2 of them on. So slide that and stick, and a medium one, slide and stick. So there are those sort of just fun extra jewels to go, and you have a whole bunch of those in a package. And then we're going to go ahead and decorate the front here. And for that, I have this ribbon, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's the Pale Papaya Faux Velvet Trim, and it is coming soon also. It will appear in the January through April mini catalog that's coming out very soon. And again, these are going in the mail today. They're in my car to go to the post office. So if you're one of my stampers, when some of you ordered from me in the last year, then you can see those. You'll get a tracking email today, so you'll know. And if you're like, wait, Meg, I didn't get a tracking email. Tonight, I should say, later tonight, you'll get the email. If you didn't get a tracking email, then send me a message. You're like, I thought I should get one because I'm one of your customers. Or you can request one. So, all right, velvet trim is velvet on one side. And you will notice that the easiest way to get it to show on the correct side, because I don't want this, is just take that and just flip it over. And then kind of crank down on that little knot part. And then you have your pretty velvet showing on both sides. And obviously it doesn't take very much for this. This is a really pretty color to match, and you will kind of be able to extend your ribbon a long way. The other thing you could do, I don't know if I left enough space for this, I'll show you on the end here, is you can make the fancy banner tips by folding this in half and then trimming this way, and so you can end up with that kind of fancy end on your project. But I didn't leave enough space on my ribbon, so we're going to leave it like this. Now, how to attach this. Hi, Pam in Drury, North Carolina. Yeah, it's kind of dreary here today, too. Although I have family in Minnesota, and they're about to get dumped on in snow. So I'll take Drury over dumped in snow anytime. I'm going to go ahead and use my multi-purpose liquid glue. Remember, this doesn't grab instantly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this on here. I'm going to hold it for a second or two to get it to have a good chance at grabbing. And then I'm going to set this aside, and we are going to bring in our next piece of our project here, which is to stamp the, let's see, can I set this down? I'm going to support it here with a, there we go. Okay, the next piece of our project, which is to stamp the tag for the inside of our card. And for the inside, we are going to use this piece here of Calypso Coral. And we're going to go ahead and stamp with this cute little fish. And we're just going to kind of do an all over pattern. So let's see, grab this. I'm going to bring back in our scrap paper, because when you do an all over pattern, you want to go off the edges. And so I'm going to kind of do this. Now, what I'm trying not to do is line up the fish in a row. So for each 2 fish I put in, the next one is going to be making a triangle, and I'm going to try and do it so that it's not on the same vertical or horizontal line as the other fish that I've put on. Does that make sense? So this one's a little lower than this, a little offset there. Let's see, there we go. Okay, and then I'll have one little bit there. So now we have our fish. So a great way to get that random stamping effect is to kind of think in triangles as you go. And then we are going to bring in another scrap of the basic white cardstock. And for this, I'm going to bring in our other stamp set from my feature this month, and that is Inspired Thoughts. So the party, let's see, I think we're done with this. The Party Puffins stamp has some really great words, Make-A-Wish, birthday, you're the best from all of us. Like lots of great opportunities there. But the Inspired Thoughts greeting set will add lots of extra flexibility and possibilities to your project. And so I'm going to grab the one that says, you make a difference every day. So there is no day of the year that isn't perfect to give this little treat to someone in your life. So whether it's a teacher or a bus driver or the clerk at the grocery store, or the post office, these are hands down a great gift to be sharing with people. So there are so many people in our lives who make a difference every day. I think this isn't wide enough, that there are, you know, lots of good opportunities. So I'm going to bring in my Bermuda Bay cardstock and I'm going to stamp that, and then we're going to go ahead and punch it here with our postage stamp punch again. Okay. So then this would give you a little place here at the bottom to write like from Meg or something like that, from your friends, and I'm going to put the little fish on there because this has a little chocolate treat in it, so it is a gift, right? All right, now where is this going to go? This is going to go here on our card, and because I have lots of like space, I don't have to worry too much about you know, keeping it in the lines or anything like that. So let's see how our, okay, not quite dry yet, so I'm going to be careful here. But now I can open up our little pouch and put on one side the You Make a Difference Every Day card, and then on the other side I drop my Ghirardelli chocolate. There we go. Okay, so now we have this open with the chocolate, important, and the note, important, and then close with our little Velcro dot, and that is a really sweet and simple, very quick little gift. You have the ability to make multiples of these in super short order, and they can be adopted for any occasion. So if you're still looking for little Christmas gifts, little Christmas treats or things to put on like your holiday table, you can put names on these for like seating arrangements or things like that. You can make these up in a super snap. Just remember those folding directions and dimensions. And I will also post some directions for these on my blog, so you can find those later today at LovenStamps.com. And if you are a person who really loves photo tutorials step-by-step that you can print out, keep in a notebook or keep handy, you will want to check out the downloadable tutorials on my LovenStamps Card Mart on Etsy. And these are available along with the other projects for this month. So the penguin cards for, or puffin, I always want to call them penguin. It's the black and white, it throws me every time. Puffin cards are the pop-up card here, opens like this, but also sits like this. So you can have it sit on a table as like a little pop-up, okay? Kind of a fun deal there. The stair-step pop-up card, so like this, make a wish on the front, and then with this stair-step pop-up puffins on the inside for birthday, and then uses that ray of light stamp again, which is just a great big stamp. Then the final of the pop-up cards is this one, which you can put flat into an envelope, so it's set like this. And then when you take it out of the envelope, it folds out into this little QB pop-up card like this. So it sits like this and sits on the table, and you can add your little messages and so forth. But another really fun way to use that rays of light image, rays of light stamp along with the puffins. So again, the tutorials for these are available in my LovenStamps Etsy card mart, LovenStamps card mart on Etsy, or you get them free if you place an order of any size in my online store. And you are going to want to be ready for the, let's see, there we go. You're going to want to be ready on Thursday, the 15th, because Stampin' Up! Is doing a 24-hour free shipping special. So if there are things that you need, the orders will not come for Christmas, so don't plan on that. But if you need things for your winter crafting, this is a really great chance to add some of them to your collection with a free shipping. And there are things on the last chance list that are still amazing. Link is in the video description, up to 60% off. And from the clearance rack, which are also up to 60% off. So you're gonna wanna check both of those things out and kind of get your wish list ready and then shop early. So the 24-hour sale on the 15th actually starts at midnight, I'm pretty sure, midnight Mountain Time on the 15th. So if you're on the East Coast, that's pretty late. But if you're on the West Coast, it starts at 11 for you, 11 p.m. So anyway, you can check those things out. There's a host code in the video description too. And remember, when you shop with me, you're going to get those treats from me, which are 2 project kits in the mail if your order is over $50. The shipping, you have to have $75 in order to qualify. So that you will get the 2 cards if you're qualifying for free shipping. And any size order gets the PDF tutorials for the Puffin project. So, because like these are just kind of the cutest things ever. Anyway, if you have any questions, let me know. I look forward to sharing more projects with you. I will have a video for you on Thursday, and then I think next week too, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30. So hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I look forward to sharing more projects with you. Thursday's project is going to be another cute and fast treat for the holidays. In case you need any last minute presents, it's darling. It's going to be like a little notebook treat. So if you're stopping at the store sometime between now and then, get 5x7 notebooks from Staples or wherever. Just the 5x7 pads is what you're going to need to make that. And then you'll just need to have on hand some designer series paper, some cardstock to match. I'm going to show you kind of a cute Christmas version, but and it will include some things from the clearance rack or from the last chance list. Okay, here's a sneak peek of it. This paper, which is still available as of right now, so it's while supplies last. It's the Santa Express paper. You can kind of see the fun Santas and so forth there. So we're going to use that on Thursday, and I'm going to share this really cute notebook project with you. So. All right, everyone, thank you for joining me this morning, and I look forward to seeing you again on Thursday, and then hope your holiday plans and preparations are going well. So happy stamping, guys.